Doctor Who ratings have fallen again to 4.19 million. Not a huge drop, but still a consistent drop in the ratings. I've got a couple of articles as well that I'm going to read out for you. I've got one from the Telegraph, and their headline reads, Doctor Who Orphan 55, Series 12, Episode 3 Recap, let down by false jeopardy, a serious overstuffed story, and clumsy moral lessons. And we also have another article, and the headline on this one, and this is from AVTV Club, and this is written by a woman, by the way, so just in case, because the people that defend it say, oh, it's mostly male journalists that criticise this show. Doctor Who delivers a pointless message in a pointless episode. So, yeah, let's discuss the ratings for a minute before I read these articles. Well, I'm not surprised. I am surprised it didn't get as much as a drop as everybody had predicted. I actually thought Charlotte was spot on last night because the episode was so bad. But 4.19 million, that's a drop, but not much of a drop. But it's consistent and it's still dropping. I don't know. I'm still trying to recover after last night's episode. It is absolutely dire. And I'm not just saying that. It was dire all over the place. And I'm just sick and tired of the people that support this and the people that say that this is great actually do, because it's not. It's rubbish. It's not Doctor Who standard. And by the way, I've seen a lot of these defenders of this era say, well, the Green Death spoke about the climate. Yeah. The difference between the Green Death and this episode was the Green Death actually gave you both sides of the argument and didn't bash it across the head all the time. Series 11 bashed us over the head all the time, and he's continued to bash us over the head in Series 12. That's the difference. Doctor Who is supposed to entertain, right? We don't mind if Doctor Who deals with these issues because it has dealt with these issues in the past, but within the narrative of the show. But also, we don't need to be listening to this week in, week out. And that's the problem that we're having. We're getting political messages week in, week out. It's always a different message. And Doctor Who, I think the people that make Doctor Who, Chris Chibnall, has forgotten that Doctor Who is actually supposed to be entertaining. It's not an educational program anymore, right? That went out the window years ago. It became more sci-fi. Okay, so that's what it should be producing. We don't mind the odd historical episode if done properly. Chris Chibnall still hasn't managed to do a historical episode properly, in my opinion. So he should stay away from them. And I did read an article a few months ago, and I think I actually did a video on it. Chris Chibnall is actually considering doing more historical episodes. Has he lost the plot? Seriously, he can't even write historical. I mean, all the source material is there, and he still can't write these characters properly. He's an absolute joke. And Ed Heim again gave us one of the worst episodes. I don't even know why he was invited back after It Takes You Away. I don't know how anybody thought that he was capable of writing a Doctor Who episode after giving us that rubbish last year. Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Right, let's get to these articles anyway. Now, of course, there is articles out there praising this, but I'm just going to concentrate on the ones that actually criticize it, because to be honest with you, it's the same with the fans that support this and YouTubers that are actually doing reviews on this. I don't think they're being true to themselves. They know for a fact that this is rubbish, but they won't say anything. Now, there's a few newspapers out there that will actually don't give a crap about the BBC and will actually give a true review. So I'm going to read the one from the Telegraph first. So just to recap on this headline, let down by false jeopardy, a serious overstuffed story and clumsy moral messages. Oh no, clumsy moral lessons, I should say. And this article is by Michael Hogan. I will try put these articles up in the link description later on when this video when I'm finished this stream. I'll have to try basically learn how to do all this stuff. I'm actually useless, to be quite honest with you, but I'll give it a go. It was dropped on the 12th of January 2020, 8 p.m. Right, let's read this. So last week saw the Doctor defeat the Master once again, but episode 3, titled Orphan 55, was another misfiring episode that raised further concerns over the sci-fi's franchise quality. Team Tardis went on holiday. This episode began brightly enough, with the fam mopping up the TARDIS after an unspecific but clearly messy incident involving a deep space squid during mating season. The mind boggles. Gleeful Graham interrupted the clean-up with news that he had collected 6 coupons from an intergalactic newspaper. Good to see print is still alive in the future, says the the guy that wrote this article. Entitling them to a free holiday. I hope you're packed, says the 13th Doctor. They're not just coupons. That's a teleport cube just activated. We've got about 4 seconds. Luckily, Graham was already wearing his Speedos. The quartet were promptly beamed to a luxury resort tranquility spa for 2 weeks of all-inclusive R&R. They were welcomed by a gimmicky named Hyphen 3N. Am I saying that right? Do you know what? That character was totally pointless. Their feline customer host. And naturally, the resort turned out to be hiding deadly secrets. Well, it wouldn't be much of an adventure if it wasn't. What adventure? Killer creatures attacked the hotel. Right. In a secret control room, resort security duo Kane and Vorm were alerted to a breach in the hotel's protective iconic membrane. One of them got in, said Kane, dispatching an armed Vorm, to contain it. One of what? After alarm drill, gunfires. Let's see, I'm even getting bored reading this article. Right. After an alarm drill, gunfire, lots of screaming, and even more dodging the subject by hotel staff, we learned that native creatures called dregs were on the loose and killing off guests. They were refreshingly scary monsters too. I will agree with that. The monsters actually were scary, but again, Chris Chibnall and his team just waste a great villain because they don't know how to actually use them. Considering they were patently actors in costumes, all teeth and claws pitched somewhere between Alien and the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. What's more, they were apex predators which had adapted to both nuclear winter and gunfire, and there were lots of them advancing on the hotel like the Night King's zombie army from Game of Thrones. Yeah, right, get away. Don't be comparing this to Game of Thrones. Even though Game of Thrones last series was absolute ass, don't compare it to Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is a different level. That's the level that Doctor Who should be at before the last series. The level that series 1 and 2 is at is that the level that Doctor Who should be at. Ryan found a love interest at last. No, he didn't. Right? He meets this chick because he's sucking his thumb and she's sucking hers, and he starts asking her questions. I didn't believe. Did you believe that love interest? I didn't believe that. That wasn't a love interest. Get away. Whovians have been eagerly spotting signs of nascent attraction between. Why do they use these weird bleeding words, English people? Between companions Ryan and Yaz, but here's someone new caught his eye. Eagerly helping himself to the all-inclusive freebies, Ryan manages to catch a hopper virus. Yeah, the hopper viruses were like little slugs that had very bad CGI. That scene where she actually takes the hop over herself of Ryan is ridiculous. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't really care. This mutating red pulsating worm was neatly removed from his bloodstream by the doctor, who left Ryan sucking his thumb until the hallucinations of flying bats uh, passed away. Yeah. So when this worm gets inside you, and then you start hallucinating of bats. Yeah. While doing so, he clumsily chatted up fellow guest Bella. Initially, the pair lied about their jobs to impress each other before Bella admitted she was unemployed, having been a carer for her father who died a month previously. She and Ryan bonded over the fact that they had both lost parents and struck up a tentatively flirtatious friendship. However, there was more to Bella than meets the eye. I think this guy is actually doing a whole synopsis. I'm only like checking this article for the first time. I'll continue reading, but I hope you are all enthralled so far by this episode, because he's actually giving you the whole synopsis here, and this is how stupid it actually was. Right, family drama everywhere you looked. Right, so while Ryan was batting his eyelashes, Yaz was playing gooseberry. Well, that's what she does every week. But I'm glad you actually said that. She met sweet old couple Vilma. So everybody's been saying it's Velma. It's not. It's Vilma. It's Vilma. And Benny. Apparently, Velma has become one of the worst people to ever star in Doctor Who. People thought she was annoying as hell. Interrupting Benny as he was about to propose. Yeah, Yaz, she kind of, well, she didn't know, as Cheryl actually pointed out, but still, that'd be typical Yaz. Just blunder in. Meanwhile, Graham encountered green-haired maintenance man Nevi and his young son Silas. Silas was good in it, but Nevi, typical Chris Chibnall character development for young white men is to actually make them stupid. So yeah, he was a tick. James Buckley, what a waste of talent. And it was just, and Cheryl actually even pointed out, if you took him and his son out of the story, it wouldn't have made any difference. You still would have got to the same point. And by the way, someone actually did point out that the doctor couldn't figure out the teleports or couldn't bother, right? And a dumb idiot and his son basically said today, incompetent doctor. Right, so his son Silas, yeah, recently, who was a real mechanical genius of the family, the source of much squabbling between them. So the son was smarter than the father. And when the father is actually in a spot of bother, then he goes, "Oh, if my son was here, he'd be able to fix this," and all. It's quite cringy, actually. And if these subplots weren't enough to keep an eye on, subplots, they weren't really subplots. That's the thing. I hate people that are calling these subplots. They weren't subplots. Right? Ryan sucking his thumb and having a conversation with a girl and him hiding in the shower like an idiot, or wherever he was, that air place with the girl, spa. Absolutely ridiculous. There was nothing. Rubbish. No substance. You don't believe the relationship between them. You don't actually give a crap. Bella soon turns out to be a long-suffering daughter of Cain who walked out when she was 7 years old. Family squabbles at every turn didn't help. This manically plotted episode, one of these storylines would have survived, but all three overloaded an already stuffed script. Yes. That's what. Chase scene became an unholy mess. Stay quiet, move fast. The action cranked up a gear when the ragtag team boarded a transport vehicle to go outside the hotel and look for Benny, who had been snatched by the dregs. However, this is where the episode lost its way. It lost its way way before that, but fair enough. The rescue team abandoned the truck when they got stuck on some rocks and ventured out on foot. When the dregs started to close in, they returned to the truck before deciding they needed to reach a service tunnel, so headed out on foot again. In the process, hyphen trien or whatever the hyphen, it is hyphen, isn't it? It's just hyphen. Hyphen with a tree because we just have to stick a number in there. And Vorm fell victim to the dregs, while Benny's disembodied voice. It wasn't made clear where it was coming from. Asked Vilma, "Will you marry me?" The answer was yes, naturally, before swiftly following up with, "Can someone shoot me?" Yeah, that was a bit. Yeah, I think he was trying to go for the shock factor there, but I actually laughed. Yeah. Ridiculous, man. I was shaking my head and everything. What a bunch of yeah. These are brilliant writers, by the way, guys. These guys are gonna win Doctor Who loads of awards. There'll be all little Mickey Mouse awards, of course, but BBC will clutch at straws at this stage. Things only got more confusing as the dregs chased their heroes down a tunnel through a nest, up some stairs, and back into the hotel complex. Oh, with characters periodically sacrificing themselves along the way. False jeopardy was introduced seemingly at random. Oxygen is running out, so is the power. The teleport is broken. We need fuel. We got fuel ups. It's the wrong kind of fuel. That's exactly what it is in a nutshell. Embittered Bella then went rogue, snatching a gun and revealing that she planted bombs all over the hotel as revenge against Kane, which is our mother, by the way. They wrote the man stupid, but this time they actually had a toxic mother this time. You know, they've been doing the toxic man thing for a while. So they changed it up and made it a toxic single mother, you know. And single mothers, not all single mothers are toxic out there. There's a lot of single mothers that actually work very, very hard. And it's actually an insult, to be quite honest. Let's continue. It was as if writer Ed Heim couldn't come up with a single source of tension, so threw in a whole load and hoped something stuck. The result felt more like an episode of Primeval than dear old Doctor Who. Now, I know there's fans of Primeval, but Primeval and Doctor Who were on at the same time at some stage, and Primeval was ITV's attempt to kind of do something time travel kind of thing, and it was a poor, like, it was still okay, but it was no Doctor Who. Doctor Who was the better show at the time. Pair of twists couldn't rescue this chaotic plot. Amid all this narrative pandemonium, there were two decent plot twists. First, we discovered that Tranquility Spa was fake citation. The Frank Gehry-esque hotel building and swimming pool were real, but everything beyond this was a projection inside the walls of the dome. This was because outside was a hostile planet called Orphan 55, and we all know what Orphan 55 became. And Chibnall forgot the end of the world because he is a gobshite. Yeah. Right, so this was because outside was a hostile planet called Orphan 55, which had been rendered uninhabitable. I hate when there's words with table in it. I know. By radiation, except for the dregs, who had evolved to survive in the toxic atmosphere. I wonder who they could be. Wow. Let's all find out together. Actually, I already know. Right, here we go. Then Graham and Yaz spotted an old sign in the service tunnel. That looks like Russian, said Graham. And the doctor reluctantly admitted that it was. They were down in old Siberian underground station. Yes, the dead planet was Earth in the future, and the dregs were mutated human survivors of a nuclear apocalypse. Well, that's not what we got. Well, that's not exactly true because she gave us all this climate change crap at the end. It was a Planet of the Apes style. That's what I said actually last night. I said it was a Planet of the Apes style ripoff, a very poor ripoff. It was a Planet of the Apes style head spinner, but too little, too late. Well, no. That Statue of Liberty moment is one of the greatest moments in cinematic history. Do not compare this pile of crap to that. And then he goes, the clumsy ego message was crowbarred in. Politically correct preaching has become a bugbear of Doctor Who's critics, and before the credits rolled, it duly arrived. The Doctor accessed the Dreg's memory to learn how Earth got into this desolate state. Cue a dystopian montage of climate change, food shortages, mass migration, and nuclear war. The people who used to live on this planet could have changed, but they didn't and lost everything, said the preaching Time Lord. And I added in the preaching Time Lord. He didn't. I just thought I'd stick that in. Back in the Tardis, she drove the message home about how this was the only one possible future, and it's up to us whether it comes to pass. Take your climate change message and shove it. Okay? We've got plenty of programs out there to actually educate us on climate change. Your job is to actually entertain us, yeah? So I don't want to be hearing these messages in Doctor Who anymore. All right? Let's continue anyway. Where were we? Yeah. In your time, humanity is arguing about the washing up while the house burns down, ranted the Doctor. Yes, it was a rant. Unless people face facts and change, catastrophic is coming. Wow. Just in case anyone has missed the moral, she then added, people can save planets or wreck them. That's the choice. Please stop sermonizing. I think we all get the idea. Yeah, and we do get the idea. And you know what? We know that we have to make this planet a better place, right? But I'm not going to be I don't want TV shows to be using scare tactics, right? Because we already have someone out there who I won't mention is going around and scaring the whole world and scaring their children right now. So we don't need Doctor Who to be doing the same thing when their kids are sitting down watching Doctor Who. They don't want to be scared by messages like this, okay? How dare Doctor Who do this, right? If you're going to do it, and by the way, all this, you're doing all these messages about the climate and stuff, right? Scientists are still debating, some scientists are still debating whether this is true or not. Okay, and if you're asking me personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I think it's a natural occurrence that happens every few thousand years, and we're at that stage now, right? I don't know why everybody is bleeding. You know, I don't mind watching programs on climate change, right, on the TV that are specifically to get me attention. But Doctor Who should be entertaining me, not preaching to me. So the writer was a dog's dinner, says this fella. He says the overwhelming feeling here, apart from disappointment, was that there was far too much going on. Ideas were touched upon but not developed. We could say that about Chibnall all the time. Ruling elites, terraforming, Armageddon, all were mentioned briefly, then tossed away. Doctor Who has always had a tendency towards corridor chases and the Doctor spouting exposition, but here it reached preposterous proportions due to the plot, which was overcomplicated when it should have been straightforward. Narrative clarity was badly treated. Far too many family dynamics were introduced at breakneck pace, meaning we weren't emotionally invested in them. The old couple thread ended on a shockingly dark note, while Ryan's thumb sucking farewell to Bella felt what's that word? Sakcharin. I don't know if I'm even saying that word properly. And his subsequent shell shock unearned. Anyway, they were sucking thumbs and everything. They're actually ridiculous. Characters was sketchily drawn in with muddled motivations. Kane initially seemed to be security guard, then morphed into a dastardly property developer, and finally a kick-ass action heroine. And would Bella really blow up an entire resort just to get her own back on her mother for abandoning her? There were some snappy one-liners, including, "If I had crayons and a half a can of Spam, I could build you from scratch." Yeah, I thought that line was insulting. That line was insulting. And I don't know. I mean, if I had crayons and half a can of Spam, I could build you from scratch. And it breathes in carbon monoxide and breathes out oxygen like a really angry tree. But the wider picture was a shambles. This article goes on for ages. I hope you don't mind. The timeless child arc was forgotten. Yes, it was. Last week's episode saw the revelation about the destruction of the Time Lord's home planet Gallifrey and mention of the mysterious timeless child, strongly suggesting this would become an overarching theme of the series. However, it wasn't even mentioned at all this time. The orphan in the episode's title led some fans to speculate about the connection. There was a fleeting reference to the Doctor being in a Mardy mood during the opening scene. Otherwise, no sign. Another reason why this episode felt scrappy and under-polished. You can't polish a turd. Historical heroes next time. Next Sunday, Nikola Tesla. God love him. In life, he was hounded, and in death, he's going to be made a shambles of. Next Sunday, Nikola Tesla's Night of the Terror sees the Tardis land in New York during the Gilded Age for a period romp, doubtless featuring electricity and aliens. See you back here to discuss whether coming back down to Earth coincides with an improvement. Let's hope for something more high voltage. Wow. And that article was by, if anybody actually wants to find it and share it, it's the Telegraph. And the headline will read, Doctor Who, Orphan 55, Series 12, Episode 3 recap, let down by false jeopardy, a serious overstuffed story and clumsy moral lessons. And the article was written by Michael Hogan. So if you actually write Michael Hogan of the Telegraph in, you will get his latest article if you want to. So before I read the next article, I'm going to see what Cheryl just handed me something here, so I better actually look. I'm really good at reading. It's Screen Rant destroying the episode. Oh. Would you like me to read it? Screen Rant have apparently destroyed this episode. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to let Cheryl read this one out to you because I'm going to prep for the next one. And I actually have the dinner on and I want to keep an eye on it. So Cheryl is going to read the article from Screen Rant here while and I'll be back in a few minutes. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay. So the headline is Doctor Who's disappointing episode 3 shows how to do political stories wrong. Doctor Who has always had political undertones, but season 12, episode 3 put across its moral message in a way that hasn't gone down well. So the article goes on. Doctor Who has a long history of wonderful, politically tinged science fiction stories, but season 12's Orphan 55 wasn't one of them. The two-part Spyfall was generally received very positively by fans and critics, praised for its surprise master reveal, gripping action, and fascinating plot developments. In the follow-up episode, Team Tardis goes on a vacation that takes all of 60 seconds to turn hellish, as their Tranquility Spa retreat is revealed to be nothing more than an immersive dome on a dead, poisoned planet. To make matters worse, the locals are far from friendly, and the Doctor finds herself responsible for ensuring the safety of the surviving holidaymakers. Orphan 55 has a number of problems. The plot involved Whittaker's doctor marching everyone out into danger, achieving nothing, then marching them back again because the key to saving everyone was right there where they started. The supporting cast featured British comedy actor James Buckley of the In-Betweeners fame, but gave him virtually no comedic material to work with. Nothing new was added to the base Under Siege format, with much borrowed from previous episodes and a twist taken from Planet of the Apes. And worst of all, the episode's finale tried to make sucking your thumb look romantic. Despite this assortment of issues, the biggest problem viewers had with Orphan 55 was its political overtones. The episode's titular planet is revealed to be Earth in the future, destroyed by global warming. Some fans have accused Doctor Who of becoming politically minded in recent years, but this suggestion ignores over 50 years of moral messages dating back to the debut of the Daleks. From nuclear weapons and the futility of war to industrialization and the destruction of the indigenous species, Doctor Who has always been a series dripping in political allegory and liberally minded morality, and to deny so now is simply revising history to support a contemporary argument. Where Orphan 55 falls down is not in the message it chooses to put across, but in the execution. The best science fiction fare, even within Doctor Who, is often based in reality, using futuristic settings to illustrate problems facing the real world in any given era. Genuine concerns and real-world truths are concealed in a fantastical story and an exciting adventure, entertaining the viewer while inviting them to pick up on the more challenging subtext. So many of Star Trek's best adventures revolve around themes of war, invasion, and diplomacy, while everything from Terminator to WALL-E has provided commentary on artificial intelligence, the over-reliance on technology, and the perils of capitalism. These examples, and many, many others, succeed by never venturing outside of their designated fictional world, trusting the viewer to draw real-life parallels themselves without spelling things out. Aside from the reader, kind of like Classic Who did. Back to the text. Conversely, Doctor Who Season 12, Episode 3 breaks two fundamental rules. Firstly, it alters the show's own mythology in order to better suit its political message. Having discovered Earth desolate and decayed in the future, the Doctor reveals that Orphan 55 is just one possible timeline, directly contradicting all of the times the Doctor had landed in the future. Suggesting that the futures the TARDIS visits are just possible rewrites. Suggesting all the futures the TARDIS visits are just possible rewrites all of Doctor Who canon, just so the episode can drive home to its viewers that it isn't too late to save Earth. There's also a strange mind meld with the Dreg for exposition's sake. Perhaps even more jarring is the very final scene in which the 13th Doctor steps almost out of character and addresses her companions as if talking directly to the audience, delivering a speech explicitly from writer to viewer. Such overt methods shouldn't be necessary in a well-crafted story that embeds its political themes in a more refined way. Last paragraph, I promise. To say Doctor Who has never before been political is grossly inaccurate, but where past stories would tell a compelling story around a strong moral theme, Orphan 55 takes its message and repeatedly bludgeons the viewer into submission with it, nowhere more so than in the final scene. Whittaker's speech might have been envisioned as stirring, but instead it comes across as patronizing, and this not only spoils enjoyment, but distracts the audience from engaging with the episode's environmental themes in the first place. Personally, for me, I thought that I was really just bored and angry through the whole thing, and then I kind of realized what it was, and they summed it up in this article. The boredom came from it being so obvious that I was being preached to, and it almost breaking the fourth wall thing at the end did my nut in. But I don't like being preached to. I don't like being told what my opinion should be. And for the record, Noel and I are not on the same page on the whole climate issue. And if you've been on any of his streams, you know I won't tolerate talk about Greta. So that being said, I was probably a target audience for this particular episode because it was so glaringly, hey, if you keep screwing up the earth by not taking care of it, it's going to self-destruct. It's going to be a vast wasteland, which is what this show did. But what I don't like being told is that is 100% how I'm supposed to be reacting. And that's what made me angry and bored, is being preached to and being brought, sorry, Ted, being brought to the place where it felt like I was being lectured by a nanny on my personal behavior. And I think it was about halfway through, I started texting my parents being like, yeah, good luck, watching it and not really being engaged. And Noel will 100% confirm that on Spyfall, both parts, I was literally leaning while I was sitting to get closer to the screen because I was so engaged by everything that was going on. And yeah, it was super preachy, and like listening to my dad talk about how technology is evil and every government's watching everything. But this isn't new information. We know that. If you've ever said anything while your AI is on your phone, Google's listening to you, Amazon's listening to you through Alexa, whatever. So that's the article, and I think it kind of sums up what a lot of the people said in the chat, is that it was patronizing, it was condescending, it was boring, and it didn't feel like Doctor Who. So back to the boss. Bye.
Thank you, Sheriff, for that. Interesting article there by Screen Rant. I know they've supported Doctor Who in the past, but again, you could see the media is turning, and it's. I hope they're listening at the BBC, because they really need to. It's not good times for Doctor Who, and I'm being honest. Right, let's go with this last article here. And this one is not too kind either by the looks of it. Right, this is by the AVTV Club. And this is written by Carol Seedy, I think it is. I think I've got that right, Seedy. And she published this yesterday. So this is actually a female journalist. So let's see what she has to say, because it's always men apparently that complain about Doctor Who. The girls, it's not, women love Doctor Who and have embraced Doctor Who as the crap that we get all off these people all the time. So let's see what Carol has to say, or Caroline has to say. So she writes, Doctor Who delivers a pointless message in a pointless episode. Okay. Orphan 55 has all the components of a solid Doctor Who episode. An interesting sci-fi location, a quirky cast of supporting players, a creepy alien threat, and a big social message. Unfortunately, those pieces never come together in something greater than a sum of their parts. At best, Orphan 55 feels like the outline for a better, more nuanced episode. At worst, it plays like a cheap paint-by-numbers knockoff of classic base Under Siege adventure. After Spyfall Part 1 and Part 2 seem to be a promise and an exhilarating fresh start for Chris Chibnall's era of Doctor Who, it is especially frustrating to watch Orphan 55 return to the often disappointed status quo of the last season. Right. At least it doesn't waste any time getting us there. No sooner have the Dr. Graham, Ryan, and Yaz landed on Tranquility Spa for a 2-week all-inclusive vacation. Then Ryan catches a deadly hopper virus from it. I hate the way they put brackets. It confuses me. Right, let's start that again. Right. At least it doesn't waste time in getting us there. No sooner has the Doctor, Graham, Ryan, Yaz landed on Tranquility Spa for a 2-week all-inclusive vacation. Then Ryan catches a deadly hopper virus from vending machine. Though the Doctor cures him easily enough, Ryan's brush with danger kickstarts a non-stop action adventure thrill ride. The TARDIS fam. I can't. Do you know what? I always pause when I say that word because I just can't say fam. Soon discover that Tranquility Spa is actually a fake citation hologram dome built on a desert planet called Orphan 55. When the defense systems goes down, they must figure out how to get the surviving guests and staff off the planet before a Geiger-esque native species known as dregs kills them all. Orphan 55 certainly doesn't lack for ideas, the biggest of which is the inhospitable planet is actually a future version of Earth ravaged by climate change and nuclear holocaust. The dregs, meanwhile, are mutated versions of humans left behind while the ruling elites evacuated the planet and washed their hands of all responsibility. In a post-Planet of the Apes world, it's not the biggest. I'm actually surprised how many people picked up on the Planet of the Apes reference that I actually made last night. I actually said that to you as well, and I actually wrote it up. It was a poor rip off of Planet of the Apes, and I'm glad all the other journalists have actually all seen this. So I knew I wasn't the only one. In a post Planet of the Apes world, it's not the biggest of surprise. The episode is smart not to withhold the twist until the very end. Even though I already guessed where this was going, same here. I actually guessed it straight away, to be honest with you. Maybe you did too, but I thought it was so bloody obvious. Even though I already guessed where this was going, it was still effective to watch Graham and Yaz spot Russian signage on the wall of the service tunnel and come to the horrific realization of where they actually were. Unfortunately, Orphan 55 is so overstuffed with ideas that it doesn't let that one central land with enough heft after the initial discovery. In one scene, Yaz is questioning where the dregs came from and how they invaded Earth. The next time we see her, she's just intuit that they are mutated remains of humanity. What should be the episode's emotional fulcrum plays like just one more fast-flowing plot point. I hate the way English people use these words just for the simple fact they can use them and they think they're intelligent. Just write the articles in plain English. Instead of zeroing in on its central thesis, Orphan 55 keeps shifting the focus back to its expansive, underdeveloped, there's that word again, assembled of guest stars in addition to the red shorts Vorm and Hyphen with a tree because he just had to stick that in there because he's a dope. There's Doom, older couple, Vilma and Benny. So it's not Velma as everybody has been speculating. It's Vilma. This is the second journalist to confirm that. And Benny with an I. Conflicted father-son duo Nevi and Silas. Nevi was a dumb truck and Silas was the genius son. A most centrally based leader, Kane, and a mysterious guest, Bella. Kane, the toxic single mother, and Bella has mommy issues, who turns out to be her vengeful daughter, with a brief love interest for Ryan. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. While any of these characters could have made compelling episodic players in their own right, crammed into one episode, they just wind up pulling focus from one another and from the central climate change message. We don't want climate change messages in Doctor Who. We've got plenty of programs out there that can educate us on climate change. Doctor Who's supposed to entertain. Bella and Kane suffer the most, if only because they had the most potential. Unfortunately, they never feel like anything more than character sketches. The reveal that Bella is processing her abandonment issues through hotel terrorism is extreme and unearned. And we never really learn much about anything about Kane, despite Fraser's appreciable efforts to give the character a sense of depth. Ultimately, it is hard to care about the big emotional moment where they sacrifice themselves to save the rest of the group. And Bella's thumb-sucking goodbye with Ryan is just plain bizarre. Yeah, that was creepy. To see two, like, because the adults, young adults, put their fingers in their mouth and suck their thumb is actually quite unnerving, to be honest with you, and is cringy. When neither the companions nor the guests assembled are well served by an episode, something has definitely gone wrong. Curiously, writer Ed Heim, who I actually have to say should never ever go anywhere near Doctor Who again. He is a total shambles as a writer. Chris Chibnall is a clown for actually bringing him back, but that's what happens when you leave clowns in charge. They make stupid decisions. Curiously, writer Ed Heim previously penned my single favourite episode of last season. Oh, Jesus, you are doing so well. It Takes You Away. She liked It Takes You Away. Okay. I won't hold that totally against you because you have written this article, which was a wholly original, emotionally rich outing. Admittedly, that episode suffered from overstuffed quality too. Okay. Which means that could be just a weakness for him as a writer. But Orphan 55 also had some hallmarks of more elaborate episodes that had been cut down in production or post-production. There are inconsistencies in how the dregs act, how intelligent they are, and who they let live. Kane inexplicably escapes two direct attacks, and the way the dregs carry Benny around and let them speak to the other survivors is especially strange. Those could be flaws in the script, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were behind-the-scenes issues that resulted in some of the messiness too. Yeah, Chris Chibnall ran off like a little crybaby because he wasn't getting his way, and then he threw production into disaster. And I think we're actually starting to see now what's happened here. Which isn't to say there aren't moments that work. Having the TARDIS fam transported off the planet mid-battle is a cool dramatic choice, coupled with the way this episode starts with the tail end of unseen romp. Orphan 55 conveys the sense that the Doctor and her companions are constantly leaping from adventure to adventure without always getting the closure they crave. Graham tries to reassure Ryan that Bella will be okay with a half-hearted "she'll be fine" with Kane. But the idea that the TARDIS team will actually ever know, the TARDIS team won't ever actually know exactly what happened is a haunting one. Again, the Doctor just abandoned the wife, just abandoned the mother and the daughter, and just let another two people die. The Doctor's big final speech about climate change and the importance of action is no doubt the kind of thing that will raise complaints about this era of Doctor Who being too preachy. As someone raised on Star Trek, however, I don't mind when sci-fi shows get explicit with their metaphorical messaging. In your time, humanity's busy arguing about washing up while the house burns down is a perfect description as I've ever heard for our current psycho-political ethos. Jesus Christ. Especially as it relates to climate crisis. The problem isn't the speech itself. It's that Orphan 55 doesn't do enough legwork to earn uh, to earn it as a conclusion. I'd actually agree with that one, actually. That is a fair point that she actually makes there. I mean, there was no, you've got to lay the foundations, and this is what Classic Who was very good at doing, but they give you both sides. But you lay the foundation. There's no laying of the foundation here. It's like, we're just going to put it in because we can attitude. Indeed, maybe the most frustrating thing about Orphan 55, formerly known as Earth, is that it has so much squandered potential. There are so many untethered ideas and themes that seem like they should be in conversation with one another, like the way Nevi and Silas' semi-dysfunctional parental relationship contrasts the even more fractured one between Cain and Bella. That's a whole episode to be made out of the fact that the dregs and the guests of Tranquility Base can create a perfect ecosystem together because of the opposing ways in which they consume oxygen and carbon dioxide. Instead, it just uses a means to an end for admittedly cool escape scene. Actually, the more disturbing part of that is maybe Bella and Cain and actually Benny are not dead, because the end where the alien actually appears on the screen, because I don't know if he was trying to shock us there, but I actually came to the realization, well, if they're still alive and they need humans to kind of expel carbon dioxide, well, then they survived and they're basically keeping them alive, which means they're probably torturing them every day as well. So I just thought I'd put that into our heads, because that's what's probably happening. Poor Bella, Benny, and what's her name? Ken. Despite what my grading indicates, by the way, she gave a C plus. Despite what my grading indicates, Orphan 55 isn't necessarily a weaker episode than the Ghost Monument or the Sarandra Conundrum. I hate saying that word. I tell you, gets no better with the names anyway. And on the whole, I say it's stronger outing than last season's finale, the Battle of Ranskor AV Colossus. What is he at? But it feels extra frustrating watching the second season of Chibnall's era continue to make rookie mistakes. It's not rookie mistakes. He's an idiot. He's no intelligence. He doesn't know how to write Doctor Who because he's a plank. He's got nothing between that head except sawdust. Especially after the exhilarating rush of Spyfall. It wasn't exhilarating. It was an improvement. Don't overhype Spyfall, by the way. The nice thing about Doctor Who is that each week offers a clean slate, which means I'm still very much looking forward to the historical adventure with Nicholas Tesla. Well, you say a clean slate. Doctor Who is supposed to have a continuous over story arc, something that fans can try figure out while they're watching each episode. But yeah, you want a clean slate. I can understand today's fans wanting a clean slate. Yeah, because you don't like to think. He's got sawdust in his heads as well, just like the showrunner. I just hope that episode and the rest of this season remembers that more isn't always more. Now, she makes a few stray observations. They're just highlighted in kind of headlines. So she writes, we don't get an explicit follow-up to the reveal of Gallifrey's destruction, but Yaz mentions that the Doctor has been in a bad mood, aka a Marty mood lately. Yeah, again, that's what I'm talking about. He does something as big as destroy Gallifrey, but in the third episode, obviously this is a continuing story arc, or he has it in mind, but has decided to actually leave out something in this, because he's as I said, he's got sawdust between his head. He's a hack. He's a brainless, mindless idiot. Right, let's go. This episode immediately calls to mind Smile, Oxygen, and Gridlock, but a mix of vacation comedy and genuine horror really reminded me of Voyage of the Damned. While I wouldn't say that the dregs are one of my all-time favorite monsters, I appreciate that they are largely practical design as opposed to CGI creation. Well, I did actually say that the CGI was bad, but then it was the costume, because you could actually see it in a couple of scenes. It was actually pretty bad. Hyphen with a tree, humanoid dog look, on the other hand, was a little lacking. Yeah, she was non-existent, and and the actress, God love her, was actually thanking everybody for the support, and she got like 7 comments. So that really goes to show you at the time. Now that was last night, so that just goes to show you that there's zero interest in her character. And Sun Loungers, last line of defense, she says. And Carol CD, if I'm saying it right, contributor for the AV Club. Caroline CD is a pop cultural critic in Chicago, where the cold never bothers her anyway. Her interests include superhero movies, feminist theory, and Jane Austen novels. Wow. And there you go. I just don't know what to say anymore. It's a complete mess. Right. Let's see what some of you guys have had to say in the comments, because actually I'll do the shout outs, and then because we'll be finishing up now pretty soon, and then I'm live again tonight. Join me tonight. But the ratings down again, not looking good for Doctor Who. It's on its last legs, guys. Let's be honest here. Lee Anthony Davis, Stephen Cassidy, Nick Blocksberg, Colin is here. We've got Gary. We've got Chris. Welcome, Chris. Chuckzilla is also here. Charlotte is here. Lone Wolf. High Desert 004. Tyrese is here. Welcome. Lucy is here. Welcome. Stephen Cassidy, the Tin King is here. Welcome. Who else have we got? We got Leland here as well. Welcome, Leland. The last time, Lord. Nice to see you all here. Talking Comics with the Gorminator is here as well. I love that name. Well done. Lone Wolf is here. Super John is here. Some of you have some great names, I have to say. LOL Detno is the am I saying that right? No, I eat. No, hold on. Am I reading that right? I probably am. Welcome anyway. No, great name. The wife is here. Obviously, you've heard from the wife. She did that Scream Rant article. Thank you very much. Who else have we got? Who else? Am I missing anybody? Dario 108 is here. Welcome. David is here. Welcome. And I think that's everybody. If I have missed anybody, please let me know. But yeah, we've lost more viewers again. It obviously didn't take the hit I actually thought Charlotte, as I said last night, had a spot on with the million, because I thought this episode was so bad. But it looks like fans are leaving slowly, because there's still some out there that are hoping that this gets better. As soon as the main fans go, you'll be left with the Whittaker supporters, and we'll see how many of them there actually really is. But if you look at it, it's lost over 57%. It'd be nearly 58 now, so it's still losing. Who's Man Bear Pig? Man Bear Pig was in South Park, but who is Man Bear Pig? We don't. Do we know who Man Bear Pig is? We don't.
I think it's a hallucination.
It could be a hallucination. Yeah, Cheryl, good point there. I don't know. But you know what? That's all that episode was short of. Was Man Bear Pig that person that I won't name their name and Al Gore, and it would have been and maybe Arnold in a big Hummer smoking a cigar. That would have been funny. Yeah, yeah. I don't mind that they have messages like this in stuff, right? But it's the way you do it. And I've seen people try to compare this to the Green Death. Don't insult the Green Death with this piece of crap, okay? The Green Death did it showed you both sides of the argument, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm all for making this earth a better place for us and our kids and their future kids and all this, right? But at the end of the day, people need to realize we still need gas, we still need oil. Okay, all of these green alternatives, right? If you actually break it down, they cause damage to the environment as well. Do you think those windmill or those what do you call them wind turbines? Yeah, them wind turbines. Do you think they go up on their own? You know, they have to dig a foundation into the ground, don't they? They put them up in the countryside. So they're causing environmental damage. And then if one of them breaks as well, you know, and a few of them have collapsed and they cause an awful lot of damage. I'm not saying we shouldn't do things to make this world a better place, but what I'm saying is Doctor Who is not the place to be bashing us over the head. And this has been going on since Series 11. It's been going on since Series 11. This is why we have a problem with it. It's consistent, right? Doctor Who is supposed to entertain. Can anybody answer me in the live comments there? When was the last time someone was genuinely entertained by Doctor Who? And I'll put your comments up on the screen there. Tell me the last time someone was genuinely entertained by Doctor Who. Because I can't remember, to be honest. I think Smile and maybe the Master story arc at the end. I forget the name. The Time and the World is Not Enough. Where that's stupid bleed names. They always come up with stupid names, Doctor Who. Showrunners. What's that one? World Not Enough and Not a Time. What's that stupid one on Mondasian Cyberman one? The Mondasian Cyberman one. The one where Bill gets turned into a Cyberman. Yeah, exactly. It's got a stupid name. Right? Like all of them. Right? But that's the last time I think I enjoyed Doctor Who. But when was the last time anybody enjoyed Doctor Who? Right, Gary puts up. There's Gary's comment there. So Gary says the Doctor falls except for the last scene. Dario 108 says Series 7. Wow, that long for you. Super John says Series 10. That was like myself, John. Like myself. Raymond O'Reilly says Heaven Sent for him. That's an absolutely stunning episode. And Chuckzilla is just warning us all now is that is fam is now a swear word in this chat. You've been warned. LOL. Like every time someone says an apple, guys. Seriously. Chris says the dregs themselves are breathing out O2, which is how Jodie refilled or air cylinder. Yeah, I know. It was an interest. See, again, the dregs were interesting. Interesting concept. It was interesting the way they kind of needed each other to survive, right? But again, it's just ridiculous. The storyline was just all over the place. It's just, I said all this last night. I'm glad all the journalists have actually said what I said last night and what my panel said last night. And you know what? Our panel's becoming something very special, I have to say, because basically what I'm reading from the journalists is basically what we've been talking about. And I think, you know, stick with us and stick with all the other YouTubers that are doing videos, but definitely stick with us, because I'm being honest with you. I think we're doing, you know, a lot of people are agreeing with what we have to say, and I think we are being fair. I mean, even Cheryl is a big supporter of Spyfall 1 and 2, and she couldn't even get through this whole episode. I mean, we have Jason that does be on the panel that's new, kind of fairly new to Doctor Who, and he's telling us from his perspective what it's what it's like as a kind of a new fan to this franchise. And he doesn't like what he sees either. And then we've obviously got Blue Bonahuvian, who's a long-term fan like myself. And we've got the rabbi from another planet as well. And, you know, we even had a Jodie Whittaker supporter in the live chat last night and was asking questions, and we answered the questions. And, you know, we're both in agreement that Chibnall, I think all of us at this stage are all in agreement that Chibnall is a huge, huge problem. So the Thing King says season 10, but not Twice Upon a Time. Yeah, nobody likes to. Well, I don't like Twice Upon a Time. Cheryl likes Twice Upon a Time. Lone Wolf says the one where the doctor was blind. Can't remember the name of the episode. Yeah, that was the Monk trilogy episode. I know what you're talking about. Was it Extremis? I think that was the one. Extremis. I think that was the one, or whatever it was. It was one of the Monk ones, but I know the one you're talking about. Oh, Lindsay says it was Sirius 8, and she says hello. Hello, Lindsay. Welcome to the chat. Sirius 8, that long for you as well. I've seen a few Sirius 7s and a few Sirius 8s, all right. Sirius 1 because of Christopher Eccleston, says Lee Anthony Davis. Wow, that long. And Dario says, I can't see how anyone would defend Orphan 55. Trust me, if you go onto Twitter and you write in Orphan 55, look at all the great comments it's getting. It's a joke. Chris says, I got through this episode, although I cursed like a sailor afterwards.
I can't wait to hear what Mom and Dad Cheryl have to say.
Twice Upon a Time, how predictable. Why can't they decent titles like Horror Fang Rock make? I agree with you, Stephen. And the Doctor falls mainly because of Peter, says Charlotte. Right, guys, that's basically it. So those two articles, not of the media again, is coming out now, and it's good to see. Ratings down, not as much as we thought now. 4.19 million. It's not a huge drop, but it's over what? I think it's over 200,000. So I think technically I was the closest, even though I didn't think I would be. I thought Charlotte was actually going to be the closest there now, to be quite honest with you. But it's still dropping. It will be interesting to see the consolidated figures. Of course, the defenders of this episode are saying that the consolidated figures and the catch-up figures are very, very important. And this seems to be the theme with them this year now, this time. The consolidated figures, like it was.
Did they calculate those into the other doctors?
What?
But did they calculate those into the other doctors?
No, I don't know.
Because it's not fair.
I know it's not. It doesn't matter anyway. This season is poor. It doesn't matter. It's poor. It's poor. And it's not getting any better, I don't think. I mean, the Tesla episode looks like an interesting one. This is the episode now I have to put my hands up and say to you guys, this is the episode I've actually been looking forward to, because as I told you, I'm a fan of Tesla. I watch all the conspiracy theories. I've read a lot about him, as everybody has. We've learned a lot about him through, you don't learn it through history, but you do hear of him, and you do your own research. And I think he was a genius. It'd be interesting to see how they actually portray him in this episode. But this is an episode that like Arachnids last year, this is an episode that I actually am looking forward to. So, can Chris Chibnall or whoever, I don't know who's writing next week's episode, but can they actually make an episode that I can actually enjoy? Right? Now, no matter what my feelings are in Jodie Whittaker, right? If the story is actually decent next week, then we'll see. Why, you think Tesla is an android?
No, it's saying actually. But I think the bad guys obviously is. I mean,
consolidated figures are a total fantasy. Gary, actually, before I do go, I'm not going to go yet because you make a very valid point there. A lot of people are saying because Rotten Tomatoes, again, apparently someone said last night, now I didn't check it myself to verify this, but apparently someone told me that the audience score was taken down by Rotten Tomatoes a second time. Now, BBC do have influence. I think the consolidated figures are actually being bumped up, to be quite honest with you. I don't think Doctor Who's getting as many views as they're actually telling people is getting the views. Now, the YouTuber, Doctor Who YouTube shills out there that are actually licking the BBC's bum holes will actually be the ones that will actually defend this episode because they're just brown nosing the BBC, which is absolutely ridiculous. At the end of the day, everybody can see what has happened to this franchise. Everybody can see that the quality is dipping each week, which it has. Spyfall 1 was actually a decent episode, right? Spyfall 2 was the quality of it was down even further, right? Spyfall 3, oh, not Spyfall 3, do you hear me? Spyfall 3. And then Orphan 55 ratings down again, right? All these YouTubers do and all these Twitter accounts that support this are, as I said, are just brown nosing the BBC, right? And that's it. They will not come out and say this is crap, even though they know it is. Right, listen, folks, I'm going to go. I'm on live tonight. I might have a panel tonight. I'm trying to organise something. If not, I'll be on myself tonight. And we will have further discussions. We might even talk something different tonight. The ratings we're getting together now were 4.19 million. So a bit of a drop from the 4.302 that I got the week previous. So it's still dropping. It's still dropping. Not much of a drop, but it's still a consistent drop. And Truxilla says is that 6% right now, Rotten Tomatoes. So, oh no, Gary says it's Rotten Tomatoes right now, 7% with 451 votes. It's been 451 votes for a couple of days now, I think. They're doing something with it, but I do not believe the consolidated figures. I do believe BBC are bumping them up a lot more. Doctor Who is in trouble. Join me later on tonight for hopefully a live panel. If not, I'll still be going live anyway. Listen, talk to you all soon and have a great day wherever you are in the world and enjoy the rest of your evening and stuff. And I will talk to you later on. Good night. I'm gonna start